Welcome back, everybody. I'm Phil. That's Sam.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are Bars and Barbells.
And today, Sam, what have we arrived at?
We are doing weird British idioms.
So this was a recommendation in the comments of our videos
From you guys.
we've been doing more United Kingdom content on our channel. And we've been purposely trying to incorporate a little bit more. So if you have other recommendations, you know what to do. Drop it in the comments on this one as well.
Learning a little bit more about the culture.
Yeah, and you guys recommended this video here. So we've arrived, and it's going to be interesting for me personally because my mom is British. And by descent, that means I am British. She grew up and left to go to Canada. And at an early age, arrived in Canada, and therefore I was born in Canada, grew up there. But she definitely still has a bit of an English accent, and growing up, I'm pretty sure I encountered a few British idioms. So I'm curious to see if any of these are going to pop up in the video for me. And what about you, Sam? Are you going to have any familiarity with any of these British idioms, do you think?
I don't know. I have a little bit of British heritage as well on my mom's side. Her mom and their family were all from Oxford, England. So maybe it's been passed down a little bit. My mom says some weird things. So she calls them nannyisms, though, instead of idioms. So I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's find out what they're all about.
We're a smutty people, clearly. Don't think we're prudes. We just love talking about butts and balls. Sure, I've said that.
Okay. We're not wasting any time.
British English is the version of the language that I, and on the whole my fellow country people, speak here on these islands. It's a version of English which, while similar to other varieties found around the globe, has some things unique to it, from words to spellings to pronunciations. One area in which British English can be rather unique is with the idioms that bless this language. British English is full to the brim with phrases and sayings that can be found here and not heard all that much in other parts of the world, like the United States, an example. To me, the phrases I'm about to share are easily understood, but for others who haven't spent all their lives in this nook of the world, they might come off as just a little weird sounding. So for those who don't speak British English, let's take a look at some of these distinctly British idioms, what they mean and where they come from. Also, before we begin, I think these are British idioms. From my research, I get the impression that the ones I've chosen are primarily used here, but they also may be found in the wider world. I think there might be a lot of crossover with Australia and New Zealand as well. But if you have heard any of these and aren't from the UK, let me know down below. Like maybe you heard them in a British TV show or something. Or maybe they are just...
And with that said, if you have any of your favorite British idioms that aren't included in this video, make sure to drop them down low in the comments.
common in other parts of the world and the internet is lying to me. Surely not. The internet doesn't lie, right? But why don't we kick things off with the phrase, the hair of the dog? This is something said in relation to alcohol and the day after you've had a little bit too much to drink. Some people, after a particularly boozy night, feel the best way to get over a hangover is to have a little bit more to drink. It's this post-hangover drink that is commonly referred to as the hair of the dog. This is one of those things deeply ingrained in me, probably because I've had the hair of the dog a tad too many times. But anyway, when you think about it, it is super weird. What has the hair of a dog got to do with drinking more after already drinking way too much, right? Well, this phrase is a shortened form of some archaic medical advice. The full phrase is the hair of the dog that bites you, and it was used in relation to treating someone with rabies. In the past, people used to think that if you got bitten by a rabid dog, the best cure was applying the hair from that dog into the bite wound. Obviously, this doesn't actually work, and thankfully, we have actual rabies shots today to deal with it. But if you do get bitten by a rabid dog, I don't know, don't put their hair in there. That's not actual medical advice I'd give out. But it's easy to see, however, how this term got applied to drinking after a hangover. It has that whole fighting fire with fire kind of vibe going on with it. Like, bit by a rabid dog, more of its hair. Already really hungover, drink more beer. Like, it all kind of applies to the same thing, right? A term you may...
Hair of the dog, Sam. So I would say I was familiar with that one.
Yeah, me too.
Is this something that you used to take part in, having hair of the dog?
This would be one of those things where like you were out drinking all night and then if you had to rally for the next day, you'd just start early again and push through.
So this is something that you had taken part in?
Yes, definitely.
This is not something I ever did.
You were never like a day drinker though.
No, I've not. But like even I whenever I had, instances where I go on a vacation to an all-inclusive resort or whatever, and it was like a night, especially when I was younger, because we'd do like spring break trips and stuff like that, right? We would drink, and the next morning, like I would be chugging back like 3 liters of water.
Yeah, meanwhile, I was like, mimosa, please.
Like I would be, I remember one time I had arrived for spring break, and the first thing I did, I went to the store down the street and carried back like 10 liters of water. I'm not even joking. People were like staring at me like, what is this guy doing? And I was in pretty good shape, so it was like no problem. But I get back and like people are seeing me with the water, and they're like, where'd you get that from? Everybody all of a sudden thought it was a great idea that I had all
You're
this
like, I
water
went to
for
the
the
store.
next morning, right? And but that's what I would do. I would just chug back the water. But clearly that is not a hair of the dog.
And they're like, go straight to the source of what caused the problem to begin with.
So what would you do? So if you've been drinking the night before, would you have the same thing like they're referring to? If you were drinking beer, you'd have more beer, or would you have like a particular thing that you'd have in the morning?
Well, I personally like never drank beer. So for me, it was just like always liquor.
So, but that's what I'm saying. Would it be with the same liquor that you would have type thing?
It would kind of
Or you
depend.
have something a little lighter, or like a mimosa to get your day started?
It kind of depend what the situation was. Very frequently, the protocol would be wake up, go to brunch, where you would have your alcoholic drink with food to recover and get the
your bearings?
energy flowing again before you went out to continue later that day.
Well, those days are long gone, right, Sam?
Yeah, never drink alcohol anymore.
Drink more beer. Like it all kind of applies to the same thing, right? A term you may also think relates to alcohol is the British idiom of bottle it. This means to lose your nerve in a certain situation. For example, if you're going to jump off the highest diving board at the swimming pool, but back out at the very last minute, someone might say that you've completely bottled it. There's multiple theories as to where this one comes from, but the most popular theory is that it comes from our good friend of Cockney rhyming slang. We all know what Cockney rhyming slang is, right? We have a whole video about it. The basic mechanic of Cockney rhyming slang is you take a phrase that rhymes with what you want to say, but then remove the rhyming part. In this case, the original phrase was bottle and glass. The glass part rhymes with a word for your behind, shall we say, glass. I'm sure you can figure it out. But this all has the implication of being cowardly, like, no, butts are just seen as being cowardly, which, that's not entirely fair. Butts are brave. We like brave butts here, but tangent aside. From here, the glass part was removed and we just had bottle, which gave us this term. So that went on a weird butt tangent. We don't talk about butts too much here on Name Explained, but that's probably for the best. Before we continue, I'd like to briefly talk about Patreon and Super Thanks. Patreon is the best way to financially support Name Explain, and
so he just like basically lost me with the Cockneys.
I was like, what are we talking about here? All I took from that was like bottle and glass, take away the GL from glass, and then he went on a tangent about
I feel
butts.
like you jumped through like 6 hoops there to arrive at bottling.
And then I was like, but then how did you get the it? Like bottle it.
I don't know.
You guys can explain if you know in the comments.
We'll hopefully continue on and understand what the hell
he likes to talk about butts a lot.
Donating just $1 a month gets you ad-free videos, a chance to say what names I'd explain, an exclusive monthly newsletter, and your name at the end of these videos. All of that can be found at patreon.com/nameexplain, which will be linked down below. Conversely, if you want to just make a one-time donation, you can leave a super thanks directly in the comments section of any of my videos here on YouTube. They help out tremendously too. Thank you. But anyway, we have another phrase from Cockney rhyming slang, that being cream crackered. This has nothing to do with actual crackers, but instead it used to mean you were extremely tired. Like if you had a really busy day at work and you just like blob out on the sofa, you could say you're cream crackered. What's interesting with this one is that unlike other Cockney phrases, the rhyming part hasn't actually been removed here. The crackered part is simply a rhyme with another word meaning you are tired. Knackered. This poses another issue though. As far as I'm aware, knackered meaning tired isn't too commonly heard outside of the UK. So this is a British idiom built on a British term. There's a lot of, it's just British all the way down with this one. But knackered simply means tired, but also has wider usage too. It can mean something is broken, like my computer is knackered or something. Not that my computer is knackered. My computer is just fine, I think. Should check that. But anyway, both of these terms come from the same origin and also have relation to dead animals. In the past, a knacker was a person who would remove dead farm animals like horses and pigs and take them to the knacker's yard to do, I don't know, all kinds of stuff you do with dead animals. I don't know, but yeah, not fun. But, or maybe it's fun, I don't know. People eat animals. I'm vegetarian, so I find it gross. gross. It's easy to see how this word, which was heavily related to dead animals, came to mean something that was broken or so tied that it was pretty much dead. Knackers is also British slang for the male reproductive organs, shall we say. Gosh, I've talked about butts and
Knackers.
the other side in this
Butts
video
and
already.
nuts.
Us Brits, we're a smutty people, clearly. Don't think we're prudes, we just love talking about butts and balls. Sure, I said that. I don't know, but we'll be fine. But how they ended up with being a name for that, however, it's a bit out of the range for this video, so let's move on.
Full of beans is next. Knackered is definitely one that have heard frequently, and my mom used that quite often.
It kind of sounds familiar. Like maybe I heard it in a movie or something, but I don't think it's something that I've ever used or experienced regularly.
Full
I
of
know
beans
this
is a
one.
really fun phrase. It simply means
What?
I said I know this one.
You know, full of beans?
My mom says this all the time.
I don't think my mom has used this one very frequently.
someone is full of energy, like a dog running around like a maniac would be described as being full of beans. In this phrase, the word beans is used as a replacement for energy in general. This probably comes from the fact that beans of various kinds are a staple of people's diets and a great source of energy, meaning if you ate a boatload of beans, you'd probably have ample energy for the day. I also really like the idea that the beans in this idiom relate to coffee beans, which would be fitting as coffee is something very much linked with giving people energy too. Well,
Burst
maybe
of
not so
energy.
much energy, just keeping people going. I don't know, I don't drink coffee either. I'm vegetarian, I don't drink coffee, I'm very boring. Finally, we have that
Missing out.
idiom of take the biscuit. Now, biscuits are something I do definitely eat. Don't worry about that, guys. But this means that someone has really annoyed you, similar to final straw, an example. Like, if you found out someone who'd been getting on your nerves for some time had actually been saying really mean things about you behind your back, you could say that really takes the biscuit.
Takes the biscuit.
This one most likely comes from the idea of stealing an actual biscuit off of someone, especially if it's the final one. Here in the UK, we are fiercely protective of our
I
blood
can see
biscuits,
that.
and it can be pretty annoying when someone takes the last one from you. Of course, in all of this, I mean the dunking kind of biscuit, you know, the kind you dunk in your tea, not the salty scone kind of biscuits found in the US. Though, when I last went to the US, I ate a boatload of those kind of biscuits at like southern food restaurants in sausage gravy. I wasn't vegetarian then, clearly, because in America. Oh, I've been going on about being vegetarian this entire video. I just casually admit I had sausage gravy. I'm the worst, but they're really tasty. Oh man, I just outed myself. There's a bad vegetarian. Sorry, everyone. But by now, you should all be well on your way to talking like a proper British person. Even I don't sound like a proper British person when I do a British accent. Oh dear. But let me know about any
dear.
other interesting British idioms I might have missed out on. And of course, please share the topic down below, which we could cover in next Monday's Name Explain video.
So I guess you can say after you've been full of beans, you tend to be knackered, because that will wear off at some point.
Are you going to start using these on a regular basis?
I don't think so. I think that would be a little bit weird if I started speaking like a British person with no accent, using their idioms and
Yeah,
terminology.
full of beans. Out of these, full of beans is definitely the one that I've heard the most in my life.
Yeah,
My mom says that about like all animals.
I would say it was probably 50-50. I knew some of them and didn't know some others, but it's true. There's plenty more that you guys can refer.
Yeah,
down
you
below.
guys should let us know those in the comments so we can learn more.
You learn a little bit about the UK.
Yeah,
Language
even
and-
the way, like, the more that I hear people speak, so like obviously him just talking,
Yeah.
the more I feel like I'm becoming accustomed to like how they speak and being able to pick up on that more.
There's a lot of different accents, though.
Yeah,
as
there's
we've
a lot.
encountered with some of our comedians thus far. But anyways, I enjoyed learning a little bit more today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed hanging out with us as well. Hit that like button if you did. Have a good one. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching.